Hi guys, it's Katie and I'm gonna do a walkthrough of my garden. It is oppressively hot today, but I've been having trouble getting naps out of my little one. So I wanted to go ahead and film this while she's napping. So everything is kind of wilted because it's really warm out and it's right in the middle of the day. But everything's looking pretty good. So it usually perks back up when the sun goes down. So here I have some kale. It's just starting to come up and it's not growing as quickly as I would like. It's in the shadiest part of this, pretty much all of these beds. So that's why, but it's coming along. At least the seeds came up. They were kind of older seeds. I planted this spinach. I didn't do anything with it and it's going to seed. It didn't really do much. Planted it too late. And then my two pepper plants here are starting to actually look more like pepper plants rather than just seedlings. And this one has a nice good sized pepper on it. Let's see, so I think these are both the bell peppers. So you can see there, hopefully you can see it. It's hard to see in the viewfinder in this bright sunshine. Swiss chard is awesome. It doesn't look great because of the heat, but it's doing great. And then these pepper plants are getting bigger too. This one, I'm not sure, that might be a habanero, or a poblano. This one here is a poblano. I got the visual there. I had a nice big one this size. I put it in dinner the other day. And then this one, this is what they were looking like until just recently. Really small, just not doing great. This here is Marigold. I just threw some seeds in and took its time, but finally came up. All right, here, this bed is a little bit different than the last time you saw it. So I have the cherry tomatoes. They're doing awesome. I need to come out here and pick them. I pick them every day and I get tons and tons of tomatoes. So I haven't picked yet today just because it's hot and we ran our errands. They're doing really good, still look really great. Then here I cleaned out this end of the bed. This is where those eggplants weren't looking great and I took them out and I was going to put squash here because it was a nice big end of the bed. And then I decided it wasn't big enough for squash. But that was after I had planted the squash seeds, so I do have some squash plants here. And I meant to pull them out and move them to my husband's garden, but I haven't. So we'll see how that goes. I might have to pull them out or I might be able to get them to fit in here nicely. But what I did put in here is green beans. I'm pretty sure these are Roma green beans, those wide green beans. And I just have them growing up this extra tomato cage, so not a very big area for green beans. I probably won't get a ton, but I love to eat them fresh. And maybe I will make some dilly beans with them. So fresh out of the garden or fresh from the farmer's market is the best. I made my dilly beans with some from the grocery store and they were a little tough. So yeah, I probably won't get a ton, but I wanted to at least have some. I bought too many tomato plants and I basically used up all of my garden space on tomatoes, which is awesome because I'm getting lots of great tomatoes, but I want beans too. And then here I put cucumbers and they're also looking wilty, but they'll be fine. They're actually doing really good. We usually get those little yellow beetles. I haven't seen any sign of them yet, so far so good. And then this contraption is these three panels make like a triangular tomato cage. But I just kind of spread it out the long way, and then I added, these are just some bamboo pieces from something else. I don't exactly know what. I've had them in my shed, and I'm gonna hopefully get my cucumbers to grow up that. Since I didn't have a ton of space here, I want to go up, so the beans are going up and cucumbers will go up. There's another pepper plant, this is jalapeno. I had several off of this one already, and it's kind of small, but still doing okay, getting some peppers off of it. Another Swiss chard. And then here, let's see, the tomatillos are doing awesome. I haven't gotten any off yet. I want them to get a little bit bigger. So you can see how big this casing is. They're still pretty small. So they're like the size of maybe a cherry tomato inside there. But there's a lot on there. So when they start getting a little bit bigger, I'll be able to make some green salsa or something. And then back here, this is more like what tomatoes usually look like, especially this time of year. They're producing like crazy. I cannot keep up with them. I've been giving them away and making salsa and I haven't been freezing them or canning them or anything, just because they're so small. I would have to take off so many skins. It would be a lot of work to process them, especially since canned tomatoes aren't that expensive. But yeah, a little bit worse for where this plant is not looking great, but still putting on tomatoes. This plant, on the other hand, has completely taken over this entire bed, and that wasn't enough. It had to come out here into the lawn, and it's so big that I can't even get inside there to get the tomatoes. Like, I have to crawl in there. Look at this cluster of tomatoes here. You can see that on the ground. There's just, I mean, there's tomatoes. There's got to be 50 tomatoes just in this area right here. It is insane. I actually had a friend of mine came over with her children, and we sent the little girl in to pull as many tomatoes out of there as she could, since she's small and nimble. And that's the tomatoes. Nothing else going on. The grapes I didn't even show you. They look terrible. Mint is terrible. The tree fell on it, but it's come back. It's starting to go out in the lawn, so I need to take care of that. Here is apple tree. Still has not so great looking leaves on it, so I'm not sure what is going on and what I need to do to fix that. But yeah, this tomato plant is crazy. This is a nice big dill flower. I just let them kind of self-seed, and then they just come up next year, volunteer. Oh, I did want to show you up here. Our third fig tree finally sprouted. So we completely had written it off, but it sprouted up a little bit. So it's still pretty small compared to the other ones. It was several weeks behind, but it's still alive, so that's awesome. So we still have 3 fig plants. We thought we were back down to 2. And then this one is doing awesome. It's got lots of little baby figs on it. I just saw these this morning for the first time. If you can see them there. So that's what, 5 or 6 little figs, and this is getting a nice sturdy branch. My husband is hoping to try to propagate these plants and make more, so we can have like a whole fig grove. And then he made this. My husband makes these things. Luckily, we don't have an HOA, and our neighbors are either kind or they're just keeping to themselves what they think of our yard, because there's all sorts of random contraptions. But he made this little teepee to give more room for the hops. They're going gangbusters. Lots of cones on them still. I'm not exactly sure the ins and outs of how to harvest these, if you're supposed to harvest them and dry them or wait for them to dry on the vine. But it's going way up there. Let's see, Concord Grape, doing a little better than the other grapes up there. Still plenty of damage though. And I don't see any grapes on this one. This is more like what the other grapevines look up there, like hardly no leaf that's not damaged, which kind of stinks. And there's the culprit right there. Look at them. You can see them there and there. And we tried to get the traps, like the bags to trap them, to control them, and I guess they're a problem everywhere around here because the store is out of the trap bags. Here is the other fig. This is the biggest one that we have. It's doing awesome, and there's multiple things coming out of the base here, so there'll be a lot that he can trim back in order to try to propagate it. And there are some little figgies there. Let's see if I can get some sun on them so you can see. Nope, there. There's a little fig. So this plant is doing awesome. Cannot wait to get some figs. And then my husband's garden. I had come in here and weeded everything. I'm just not used to keeping up with the weeds of an in-ground bed. Between there being no barrier between the weeds in the yard and the garden, and the fact that some of the compost was like homemade compost, which is not hot enough. My compost doesn't get hot enough to kill seed weeds, so it's just chock full of seed weeds, which is why I don't use it in my garden. But my husband uses it, and it's just like pretty much an extension of the lawn out here these days. They do have some things that are doing okay. This is the sunflower. It blew over in that storm, and then it grew up, and there's quite a few buds on it that are going to be opening soon, so that's nice. All of our other volunteer sunflowers are too shaded and they're not doing so great. So there's a couple cherry tomatoes, and then that's a volunteer tomato. We haven't decided which one it is. It hasn't put on any fruit that I know of. And then here's some little eggplants. Oh, I gotta show you the other eggplants too. In amongst that giant tomato in that one bed, there's some eggplants doing okay. But then I planted squash in here. So this is my husband's garden, but he doesn't have a ton of time to spend out here, so he said I could put a few things in here. I don't know that he's really planted anything himself except for the okra. But he's happy to have me plant in it, I guess. But he asked to put some squash in, so we would have some squash. And down there it looks like we have a female flower getting ready to make a squash of some kind. I put green zucchini and yellow straight neck squash, so I'm thinking this is probably zucchini just based on how the leaves look. And then there's another smaller one there, which is either a volunteer or something, or I don't know. I don't remember planting one that close to the front. So yeah, and then back here is the okra, which it's still kind of small. It's pretty shaded back here, but it's doing a lot better. It's kind of taken off in the last 2 weeks or so. It was really small. Don't see any buds or flowers yet, but should get some okra here eventually. So let me take you back over and show you the eggplants. So I pulled out the eggplants out of this bed that were completely just decimated. And then I put some basil in here. I put some more basil out front. I'll show you that out front. But I wanted to show you the eggplants. This here is the wheatgrass. I planted it to make juice from. I don't exactly know at what point I'm supposed to harvest it. I guess at any point. I haven't done anything with it, so it's just kind of here. But you can see how many tomatoes are on the ground? I have to like crawl in there to get them. When they're laying on the ground, they're just gonna rot, so I might as well crawl in there and get them. All right, but here is the eggplant. So a lot of the leaves still have damage, not nearly as much as the other ones, but a lot of these newer leaves are looking a lot better. And then underneath I have that eggplant, and then I think there's 2 more here. They're pretty decent size. I'm just letting them get a little bit bigger. Thought I had one more, but I don't see it at the moment. Oh, here it is. Whew. As you can see, little one there. This one is actually not doing well. And these ones do have thorns. I've never seen eggplant thorns, but I heard about them on Felina Mare's garden update, or maybe she left a comment about them. These ones have thorns, so definitely need to watch out for those. I want to get those tomatoes. Okay, I'll just do a real quick clip of out front so you can see the herbs, and that will do it for this garden tour. So here is the herb garden. I put this basil in, and it's grown a little bit slow, but it's doing all right. I've been pinching it back so it gets nice and bushy and using the little bits. But I have had basil before, and it just grows up like 4 feet tall. But this year it's just taking its time. Probably planted it a little bit too late. The soil out here is a little bit depleted, which is actually awesome for herbs to have kind of neglected soil, but basil needs a little bit more. Some thyme, sage here, and then the oregano here and here has flowered. Got these flower stalks, and the bees are just all over it. There's all sorts of pollinators and bees and butterflies come to the oregano, or most herbs. Butterflies like most herb flowers, so I'm just letting the flowers hang out for now since the bees love them so much. Parsley going to seed. Let's see, some of the seeds are already forming, so I'll just let these dry and drop to the ground and self-seed for next year. Let's see, tarragon's doing really good. I need to harvest some of that so I have it. And then another thyme, chives, and my rosemaries are doing awesome. These are both new this year, and they're really growing fast, so that's nice since I've been without rosemary. I've been without rosemary for a little while since mine died the year before last. And then This is a hen and chick that's doing this weird mutant thing. I've never seen a hen and chick flower, but I'm assuming that's what this stalk is, a flower stalk. But it's been here since we've moved in, and the little babies form and then the bigger ones die off and new ones form and then they die off, so it's always stayed kind of the same size. But this year, I don't know what it is about this year, but there's dozens of babies in this flower stalk, so interested to see how that goes. I might try to take some of these little babies and put them in some of the other bare spots. I love hen and chicks, they're so cool. So I hope you enjoyed this walkthrough of the garden for July. Please give the video a thumbs up and check back next month. I do these once a month. Okay, bye guys.